Hello YouTubers and welcome to another episode. Unfortunately today there will be no rowing, no training. As you can tell, we're not at Leander Club, we're currently at the house. As you can tell from the title, that is the reason. So let me explain. So yesterday I did a 2K on the rowing machine, partly for prep for GB rowing trials coming up next weekend, so we can test the splits, test the rates, see how we're feeling. So backing off a little bit from the flat out effort that we're going to do next week, give us a little bit of confidence and just sort a couple of strategy things out. So I did the 2K yesterday and it was well off the pace. So a few weeks ago I did one at 5:55 and yesterday I did it at 6:10. So the 15-second difference. The strategy yesterday was to go out and make a 5:55 roughly feel pretty efficient, and it was not. And the way it felt, it wasn't quite right. I spoke about yesterday what you can do after you don't have a successful piece or a successful test, how you can analyze and how I analyzed the piece. And then it was more and more after I made the video and spoke about sleeping, food, talking to the coaches about the training, how I approached the training pre that piece. It was more about there wasn't too much that was off. There wasn't too much that I had done wrong up to that piece. Like I spoke about sleep, but realistically, not even a bad night's sleep, a couple of okay nights sleep shouldn't throw me that far off. Same with fueling up. A couple of days not fueling up 100% shouldn't cause me to drop off 20%, and same with being a little bit fatigued from training. That shouldn't cause me to drop off so much either. But a combination of all three, plus what you can see in the title, having an infection could throw me off that much. But the last factor, that infection, probably would throw me off that quite a bit more. When the body's trying to fight something, it can really sort of throw you off. And so how do I know I have an infection? Well, over the past couple of weeks, there's been a bothersome wisdom tooth. And so every other day, every few days, it's been sort of, it's not pushed through yet, but it's been sort of, okay, I'm here. And so I just took that as, it's my wisdom tooth, it's doing its thing, it's coming through eventually, it'll be okay. And then yesterday I was thinking, well, it's been a bit swollen and maybe it's not just going to be okay. And so today, spoke to the coaches and we said, well, the best thing to do, we don't want to go and do more prep and just go head first into trials. We want to make sure you're all good to go and make sure you're strong and fit when you do get the opportunity to go and do a test. So we decided the best thing to do was to go to the doctor or dentist, and since it was a mouth, go to the dentist. So we made an appointment to the dentist and they basically said, yes, there's an infection. So a little bit of swollen lymph nodes, or definitely on this side, and swollen gum just where the wisdom tooth's coming in, and got a couple of x-rays to see what the wisdom tooth is actually doing. So on that side of things, it's doing fine. The wisdom tooth is coming in, but the infection is there, so it's causing my body to fight that while also trying to train as well. So a combination of all the things we spoke about yesterday, plus probably the bigger factor, the infection itself, running my body down. So like I was saying yesterday, I don't need that much to get a good score, just a few hundred meters. So if I'm not running, I need that couple of percent, and that could be any of the four factors. And that's kind of, I spoke about a video about being ill, going to training when you're ill, going to training when you're not ill, and making sure when you are ill that you take care of yourself. And today is one of those days. So I could have done more prep today. Spoke to the coaches, I said to them, I want to do the piece. I want to make sure that Robson and I are rowing together well and we're going fast. But I know that if I do have something going on with my body, if it's an infection, then it's going to throw me further off. But then if I don't do the piece, I won't see how Robson and I are doing before trials. So it's kind of between a rock and a hard place. But at the same time, well, the coaches said, yes, we understand where you're coming from, Cam, but we're taking more of a longer view rather than just a week view. If you have an infection now and do all the PCs and go do trials, you're going to run yourself deeper into the ground and you're going to do worse overall over a longer period of time than if today and over the next week or so, make sure the infection is done and we get everything taken care of, and then we get back to smashing it. So I really don't like taking time off, and taking a bit of my own advice of, if you are ill or there is an infection or whatever it is, make sure you rest, recover, and take time off. Which like I said, I don't like doing as much as the next person. I want to go to training, but if I can't train and have my body be able to recover properly, to be able to train at the level I want to, and to be able to maintain the level of training that I want to maintain, there's not much point of being at training. It's better to take a step back, recover, and get back to where I was. Because in reality, the amount of training I've done from even including the summer till now, the start of the season, I'm in good stead. It's just a case of putting that into place when my body's ready to put that into place. So that will be it for today's episode of Yam Squad. A little bit of an update. So have that tooth infection, unfortunately, and then we're just going to keep in touch with the doctor, keep in touch with the dentist. I got some antibiotics to take care of that. I actually bumped into Alan Campbell, who missed out on an Olympics because of his wisdom tooth. So I bumped into him, and it's just weird how those things happen. I don't really see Alan much, but I just so happened to see him on the day that I'm having trouble with my wisdom tooth, and he was like, look, if you're having trouble now, get it taken out, because if it's having trouble now and it's not through the gum, then when it comes through the gum, it could cause more problems, and then you wish you would have taken it out then. But obviously he's not a dentist, I'm not a dentist, so we're not giving advice here, but it's just really interesting how it just so happens that wisdom tooth's flaring up, and he has had experience with wisdom tooth related things and training at a very high level and missing out on the Olympics. So that was interesting today. Speaking to the doctor about sort of antibiotics and training, speaking to the doctor about whether I should get the wisdom tooth out or not, speaking to the dentist about that as well, how it can affect training, and then obviously with trials coming up so soon, we need to assess what's going on there. But that will be it for today's episode of Yam Squad. We will be back to regularly scheduled vlogs at some point in the future, but of course the rowing and making sure I'm looking after myself and recovering properly comes first. The videos come second, hence why I'm not out there today filming loads of stuff because I had the time to. It's because we're in here, we're recovering, taking our time, fueling up right, sleeping loads, and making sure my body has everything it needs to fight the infection and get back to training as quickly as possible. But again, not pushing to get back to training and giving my body the time it needs and then building into training, if that makes sense. So as always, remember to subscribe if you haven't already to keep track of the illness, infection progression, or fighting back against it and then back to full fitness. And hit that like button, and I'll see you in the next episode, hopefully more fit. Oh yeah.